optimized Genesis sequence.
Hello. First of all, I need to apologize for my lab coat. Not that I'm wearing it, but it's sort of like not ironed. And it's like I was explaining to my friends, the room I've booked has an iron, but I didn't get into the room yet. And this is what airlines did to my lab coat. So sorry about this. On the other hand, the topic that I'm going to cover today is somewhat, I mean, it's GA already, but it's a bit experimental. So who knows what the title of this talk mean exactly? Exactly. Okay. So can you explain what it means to the audience? Do my job? Yes, very nice. You got jelly straight from Poland. I throw you catch. Almost. Sorry. Could you pass him? Pass him. Okay. Yes. Very nice. So this is me. I'm Piotr Przybyl. I work as a senior developer advocate for a company called Elastic. I'm also Java Champions Test Containers Champion. This is how you can find me if you need to. ESQL is the topic that I'm going to cover during this talk, and the pipe in the middle of it is not accidental. By the way, who's already been using Elasticsearch? Okay, I would say like about half, so I guess I still need to explain quickly what Elasticsearch is. So maybe you shouldn't quote me on this, but Elasticsearch is a kind of like an engine, right? It's not exactly a database, it's kind of like a data store, something like this. And once you feed it with data, it becomes your own engine for search, for analytics, and it can even support your AI because it's like a very nice vector store and whatnot. So today I'm not going to cover how do you make your data happen in the Elasticsearch, right? That's the other parts of the so-called Elasticsearch stack that used to be called as elk in the past, hence this lovely elk, if you can see it, is still the mascot of the stack, of the stuff, sorry, and the stack as well. So now I have the question for you. If you, for those who are using Elasticsearch, how many languages can be used to hit the underscore search endpoint? 2, 5, 17. You said 10. Someone said 2. Can I get 7? Can I get 12? So you said 10. I was told that it's not that as many as in here, but that it's actually sort of like 8. And trust me, I haven't used all of them. So of course we use query DSL mostly as developers. We use Kibana query language. Sometimes you go for Lucene if you need something directly talking to the engine, right? Or there are other languages if you need something like very, let's say, domain specific and stuff. So there are these many languages. And of course, the most popular one, I mean, even like, or the one that many of, or some of them get translated to, it looks like this. So when you want to hit like a get request to search and you go for a match using the quote, I know Kung Fu, right? Who knows Kung Fu? Black belt people? I shouldn't, okay. You're a dangerous gentleman, sir. Okay, of course you can run aggregations and then it looks like that. What do you actually see in this slide? JSON. Yes, it's JSON, right? Who loves JSON? Who loves JSON and is not the manager? Exactly. Therefore, we have this lovely new creature in the ecosystem, and it's called ESQL, right? It's maybe not exactly Neo, but it's going into this direction. And I persuaded AI to generate this image with sort of 3 characters, and you'll see what that means in a minute. So there is a new endpoint. You basically send your request queries towards underscore query, right? And fun fact, no JSON. Right? And this is what I like about it. So it's the ESQL consists actually of 3 things, you could say. The whole concept of it is there's the language, there's engine, and there's the visualization part. So ESQL as the language has several features, right? So it's basically piped query language. Therefore, we have this ES. So it's not eSQL or something. It's ESQL. It supports unstructured and structured data. It allows us to like manipulate and filter with data SQL-like sort of, and it also supports lookups. I mean, I would say the closest thing in the SQL world is joins, right? it's not the very first piped language in the world. So of course, this is what we use in Unix shells. There are similar languages for Splunk, Microsoft, Amazon, right? And do you know this? I mean, does it look familiar? Yeah. So this is a piped C shell is a piped thing, right? So we can grab through access log, look for like certain resources being fetched. Then we can sort it, get like top 5 of them after sorting and making sure they're unique, and so on, right? So this is what you do, and this is basically a nutshell of a piped language, because it's also I mean, the order of these things matters, right? So it's very imperative in this nature. So if you don't have time to read the documentation, I created this slide which should cover at least, I mean, the most elemental features of this language as it is now. So we start from index. So we have in SQL database, you have databases. Here we have indices which keep the documents we have indexed. And then we can go, for example, where a field is equal ABC. This is how we can filter, right? So select the documents based on certain criteria. Then we can go for sort. And the sort can be like on any field, right? Ascending, descending. And then we can limit how many do we actually want, right? There is always a limit. And you can change the default one. I might be making things up, but I say it's like the maximum is 10,000 documents, right? So this is like to limit things further. And also you need to remember that this limit applies not to all the documents, but it just means that the first like chunk of documents will be fetched from these indices to work later on this. If we want to have certain fields selected, then we don't go select, we go keep, and then we can say I want this field, and this field. And this is the beauty of it, that it's not JSON, that you can toss some comments right like this, so you can comment the lines. If you want to go for the opposite way, you can then say I don't like field X, or I don't like field Y, and you can drop them. So this is the exactly opposite thing. You can also have multi-line comments if you need to. And this is like quite handy, because when you have these comments, you can even describe what this chunk, what this line is doing, and you can easily swap them when you're experimenting or trying to debug. And like, sorry if I sound too pitchy, this is actually what my boss told me. Like I've shown her the slides and consulted her, hey, what do you think about these slides? And she said, like, you know what, some of these sound too pitchy, right? And I said, like, I'm sorry, but I'm like too excited about the language, because finally it starts looking like a language for mere Unix beings, right? Where I don't have to make my fingers dirty with JSON. And so sorry if I'm like too excited about this, but I basically very much like this stuff. And then how can we get, for example, we have a log line, right? And you want to get date and message and IP address, and you know that these are separated by space dash space. This is how we can extract these fields, right? Or these, more fields from field S. What you can do, you can compute, right, a new field. So as you can see, there are functions. So we can convert types. We can extract stuff. So I can only extract year, for example, right, and compute a new field. I can do statistics. So I can calculate like average, or here, as you can see, I can alias the fields. So it's not like in SQL, so we have something as, and the alias, it's the opposite, right? This alias equals, and there is like a value. I can have stats, like more stats, as you can see, I'm not limited to single expression or function just to appear once. I can have stats like many times wherever I think they fit in my query. I can go for sort of like joins. So if I have so-called enrichment policy in place, I can then say and augment my data with some more stuff, right? Like fetch data from some other indices and sort of melt them together and send or ship as a result. Again, I can go for more sorting in this case, right? I can sort or whatever descending, because for example, I want to now sort based on this count or whatever. So and so on and so on. Again, I can go for another limit, right? Because maybe I have like different stats now or different sorting or whatever, and so the story goes. Who is Java developer? Nice. Now finally, almost everyone raised their hands. Very, very nice. If you raise the hand, make sure you grab one of the stickers I brought you. So how do you use this language? First, you need to be running proper version of Elasticsearch. So it was added in 8.14, right? It was also available as preview feature or technical preview, sorry, for like 2 previous versions, if I'm not mistaken. But you need to have like quite modern Elasticsearch. That's for starters. Then you should have in your dependency modern Java client, right? So this is the latest version, at least as today morning. So if you're watching this on YouTube later, probably this version has been updated. And this is actually how you query from Java Elasticsearch using this new language. So you have this Elasticsearch client, right? Then you go eSQL, and then you run your query using adapter. That's mandatory. Using a query, I'd say it's also mandatory, and any number of parameters, right? If you want to prevent injections and stuff like that. So this is how you do that. And why do we need this adapter? This is the adapter, right? This eSQL adapter. And basically there are 2 kinds of this adapter. There's result set eSQL adapter and objects eSQL adapter. Who knows what JDBC stands for? Come on, shout. I think you started first, so I need to throw you some jellies. Yes, exactly. It's how Java is connecting very low level. Sorry, could you pass it to the database? And now the thing is, when you do this query using Elasticsearch client using this ESQL, and your application is expecting something JDBC wise, I would say, then you can easily hook it in, right? I love it very much. So as you can see, you can go for this result set ESQL adapter instance, right? Here you write a query that's doing something. In our case, it's just selecting major and minor version, right? And what you get is result set, right? So we wrap it into try with instances. I guess I've forgotten to close it, or maybe not. No, I haven't. Or maybe I did. Anyway, this is slide. Okay, slides can take anything, right? Let me show that in code so that I'm not lying. This is the version in IntelliJ, right? I hope IntelliJ people appreciate this. Yes. Thank you. So this is, you see the result set, right? And I'm just like if it was, as if it was SQL connection to a SQL database, I can just go by columns, which, mind you, in this world start with 1, not with 0. I guess it was written by some Pascal people. I don't know. Maybe they felt some pressure. Or so alternatively, you can go for something like this, of course, right? So you can also refer to these by field names in this case. So these aren't column names, but you see, from this point on, it basically feels as you are connected to a SQL database, right? So when you want to query your data. So I hope this query is quite obvious. So instead of going for from index or indices, right, you can go show info. So this is another variant. It just will show you fun fact, the info, right? You can say keep version. So I'm skipping like the hash and the release date. Then I can dissect this version into major, minor, and patch because this is how it's structured, right? Using the dots. And then I can just say keep major or and minor, or I could say drop patch, and then I limit 1, so I get the first thing, right? So. And I have, this is like online, and I have tests working for this. So this is for sure working. Now, who recognizes this syntax? Yeah, Java records, right? From Java, which version of Java do we have records? 17. Who said 17? Yeah, for sure. They are like already in Java 17. I throw you a catch, right? Yeah, at least when we're talking about LTS versions. This time I threw like almost like an exception. Yes, and okay, let me switch to IntelliJ again because maybe that's better. There is this other way. So if you don't go for result set ESQL adapter, you can go for objects ESQL adapter of, and this is my class, this is this record, right? So I even annotated it with this thing, so this allows us to better like or customize the deserialization because these fields are known with underscore, perhaps I don't want to have underscore here, right? Or I just want to rename it. So once I have this and I have my query and I have my parameters, and this is the query, by the way, so as you can see, it can get like more sophisticated. What I get is just iterable of these records. So this gives you kind of like, I would say, ORM vibe, right? At least in Java. So you get you can iterate over the results you have received, and you can do whatever, right? In this case, I decided to just use the most obvious way to turn it into a list, and then I return the list. But you could do whatever with this. So you can either go for, like, let's say, result set approach in Java, or you can go for I would say ORM-ish approach that exists, right? Something like that. And what I like about this is that it translates directly, or it works in many places, right? So I can copy the code I'm working on in IntelliJ or like other IDE, right? And then whatever IDE do you use, and then I can post it into Kibana, right? Let me show you. Do I save it here? Yes. See, so I have queries like this, and I can basically take and run them. There is no big deal around that. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Yes. See, and this is the exact copy, right? So I can copy and paste it between my IDE and the Kibana, which is the UI for Elasticsearch, right? Sorry, wrong. Okay, done. It's because then it's like they're gonna like, oh, you didn't have this photo, like last year. Anyway, and this is the result you get. And you might be like, dude, but this is JSON. What the heck? You promised us no JSON, and here is the JSON. Well, fun fact, the response is in JSON, right? So it's the Java's library that can wrap it for you into result set or like iterable of your records or beans or whatever. Under the hood, it is still JSON, unless you go for something like this. You go for, when you want to debug it or play with it, you go for format text, and that will give you this output like in the form of like a table, sort of like ASCII art, like who knows Cauce? Try Cauce in your shell, right? Or if you fancy like going for CSV or something like this, then you can go in format CSV. The default one is JSON, at least if you're playing this with Kibana or you're sending your requests using like just HTTP client, I don't know, CURL or whatever. The nice thing about this is, yeah, that if you do this in Kibana, it will, in discovery mode, right, it will just try to do or visualize the data the best it can, right? So if we go for this, like this super simple query, right? So it should give me just major and minor, it will give you just one document. So as you can see, 8 and 15 in this very case, right? And if you go for somewhat more sophisticated queries, like these things, like you're into like monitoring, observability and stuff, as you can see, it works here. Actually, maybe I can try to like show you that again working. Yes, see, so we can go for more sophisticated queries, right? And then it gives you results. And you can, of course, edit it. So we can go, maybe I don't want to have pi and everything like this. And of course, you can, you're most welcome to edit it here as well. It can even show you warnings, like it doesn't like the idea that I'm overwriting the field client IP, right? And what I like about this thing is like you don't have to look for the documentation. It's right here. You just click for it, and if you want to have like let's say 2 IP, see this is the function, and already like shows you how it works. And of course you can save it and stuff. So it doesn't. It's not different for regular Kibana. Now let's go. And accidentally, I covered the last part. So now let's go for the second part, right? I'm swapping the sections as I speak. Sorry. Wall of text, blah, 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 blah. It is a separate component from the existing Elasticsearch aggregation framework with different performance characteristics, right? Long story short. And sorry for the poor drawing. I made it with my 2 assistants, right hand and left hand, okay? That's why it looks so ugly, but it should give you the point. So this is not the engine that you hit with underscore query that you used to hit with underscore search. It's a new engine written from scratch, right? Which means if you have modern Java client and modern Elasticsearch version, you can send the same query basically still in query DSL, nothing changes here, or you can opt in for ESQL, right? So whatever works for you. So it will hit new engine, and this engine basically has, as it was written there, different performance characteristics, which means that chances are that for many queries, it will give you the response much faster, right? Not always, unfortunately, but in many cases, it will give it faster. And why this magic happens is this. As you may know, in the CPU world, now we have CPUs, I mean, for what, like 20 years, maybe more, that can, for example, do many calculations using single CPU instruction. For example, the naive way, if you have to like summarize two arrays, like let's say I have one array and I have another array, right? And I need to summarize like for example, first item here and put the result here. The naive way doing the for loop works like this, right? So we take this, and you go for add. So this is one CPU instruction, and another, and another, and another. Or you can go for this so-called SIMD, single instruction, multiple data. This is basically Project Panama from Java and so on. That's why Elasticsearch relies on the latest version of Java, right? And what it does is this. It takes as many items from this array, and in the second, of course, as well, and adds them or like multiplies them or whatever in a single CPU instruction, right? Because, for example, you have like 32 bits, right, for each cell in this array, and then if you have your registry in your CPU that's 128 bits, you can multiply or add already 4 of them in a single cycle. So this is actually not magic. This is proper engineering, right? This is proper science behind this. If you are after some benchmarks and so on, you're welcome to go and verify this on this link, right? Maybe you will get also like some hints like for which queries you might benefit from performance or not. Fun fact about this is like once Elastic's engineers started to write this new engine, they sort of realized that the old one or the existing one, it could be also improved. So they backported some improvements. That's why you can see drop not only for ESQL, but the good old stuff as well, meaning sometimes it's nice to rewrite stuff or write new stuff, right? Let me cover the visualization. Maybe I wasn't clear with this. So in Kibana, when you go for this thing here for data views, right, you need to switch to language ESQL, because by default it stays with the Kibana query language. So you click here, language ESQL, right? This is made so I don't forget anything. Yes, so you can click here and you get the like in-app documentation, right? So we don't have to keep like two tabs open or something like this. And yeah, when you write your query, Kibana is trying to do its best to guess, sort of, or figure out, maybe that's a better description, how the data should be visualized in the most sophisticated way, or the most appropriate way, sorry. And then, of course, you can always click edit here, and you can define what you are after, like change whatever, like what kind of chart that is, and so on and so on. There are some limitations that are currently being worked on, right? Currently, you're not able to rewrite every query DSL query into ESQL. And the reasoning is this. The engineering team could either wait until they make it like, one-to-one feature complete, which probably would be very difficult to happen because, fun fact, there are still like the query DSL is not frozen, it's also evolving, right? And the other thing, instead of waiting for years, they decided first to tech preview it for a few releases and then release it as it is, while still working on like improving performance, adding more features, and so on and so on. What I lack here, right, for example, is vector queries. So currently, in current version, these are not possible, which means my other AI demos, for example, still sticking to query DSL. Now let's go to a bit general thing. So if you need our help about ESQL in particular or anything Elastic related, you can go to our forum, discuss Elasticsearch, or join our Slack community. Sorry, it is Elastic Stack community on Slack. Difficult to if you don't speak English. If you want, you can join one of our meetups. There's a whole map. We are sort of like doing this worldwide. Fun fact: we are having even a meetup in Antwerp tonight. Right. So I don't know if you fancy to rush out and join the meetup. But in case you do, please, you're invited. There's another thing called BBL, which is brown bag lunch, meaning if you can't go for a meetup, but let's say there is like a few of you in your company and you're already interested, maybe you can invite me or one of my colleagues and we can go and talk to you about the free open source stuff right we have. It will cost you exactly one lunch for me, for example. So as you can see, it's quite, it's not very expensive, right? I don't eat fancy stuff. And we need your help, right? So I'm asking you, if you are experimenting with ESQL, I mean, sorry for this like quick breeze, but as you can see, we are sort of like limited. If you're experimenting with ESQL, if you need something, if you think something should work differently and so on, please go to Discuss or Slack, let us know. And also, I would like you to like give me a feedback using Devox app as a feedback for this talk, or if you prefer to be more verbose or you're watching this on YouTube, please go for this form. I'm checking the results even months after the event. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Okay. So if you want to make your hands dirty and you need Elasticsearch running for this, there are many ways, but I can recommend you at least 3. First is going, like I was showing the slides, for ESQL demo Elasticsearch. That will open just this environment for in your browser. If you want to run full-featured Elasticsearch and Kibana in your machine and you have like Docker or something that can run containers, you can go for this tiny little one-liner. This is everything you need to set up Elasticsearch and Kibana on your machine. This is something that I was using today. Or you can, of course, go for a free trial, free as basically it won't cost you during the trial period. These are the links. So, of course, there's the current documentation for SQL. If you want to go for more demo queries, you want to make your hands dirty, right? This is it. It's this just ESQL demo. Or if you want to like extend this Java code, you can also go for this book search a demo. And I think that would be it. Should you have any questions? I don't know. Maybe we have 2 minutes. Maybe there is a question. Yes, please. Yes. Meaning the question is this available in a version that I don't have to pay for? Yes. And fun fact, with the version 8.16, the sources of Elasticsearch are going AGPL, in case you haven't heard, right? So it's going to be like open source, like fully, no question, open source again for the sources of Elasticsearch. Question? Sorry, I can't hear you. Could you please speak up? Yes. Yeah. So the question is about this most published class. Does it need to have all the fields that are coming from the query, if I'm getting this correctly? Well, that's a good question. Why don't we run an experiment and figure it out? Okay, that's the. I mean, of course, this is not a deep dive, right? So we can't like fully. But let's say this thing, and let's go. Let's remove the times thingy. Right. So I have to remove this invariant. Let's just see. Okay. Sorry. Here, does it compile? Sorry, I'm in the wrong file. Let's go for this book search here. It seems there are no more errors, and let's just now go for the tests. And I haven't tried this. I don't know this gentleman, right? So I don't know what will happen. We'll see. So this isn't passing, and why? Okay, so it doesn't passing because it's Jackson exception, because it was, yeah, because I was referring to this field, right? So that's why it didn't work, because here it's like I'm doing something with the times. See, that's why this times, right? So, but the other tests worked. Okay, so yeah, but this is it. This test, right? So let me go really quick. What does it do? Let's try to remove the times like this. So we shouldn't have times. So now this is like business-wise, this is rubbish, right? And so the test still have a JSON exception. So I'm sorry, I'm afraid I can't answer your question right now. We would need to look at this because it has some parse row and stuff. I don't know, maybe I have it like, maybe I should have run this experiment. I'm afraid we don't have many more questions, but we can continue this experiment maybe in the lobby, right? Or if you have any more questions, please go and ask them. I would say that's it. Thank you very much. There are stickers if you'd like to.
All systems are nominal. Initialize Genesis sequence.